Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's Tom Luziski from the Sam Noble Museum with a rare live appearance of Tinker with Tom. The conditions are amazing this evening. You know, it's like in Oklahoma. There is trying to find something a day with little or no wind, and today is it. There is almost no wind whatsoever. I feel like I can take the wind meter off and we can move ahead. Rare are the days that we can pull the sticks out and give this a try. So I gotta do it. So I'm gonna warm up a little bit. I haven't done anything yet. We're gonna try this French four-bladed plastic boomerang to get going with. Don't wanna start with something too heavy. And we'll talk a bit about each boomerang, and we're gonna talk about how to do it. So this will be kind of a just studying up ahead for some future episodes of Tinker with Tom and how we're gonna make and throw some boomerangs. So, unfortunately, Facebook watchers out there, this is a mirror image. It will look like I'm a southpaw throwing with my left hand, but nothing could be further from the truth. I am indeed throwing with my right hand. So I'm just gonna go out there and have a little bit of fun and try not to put my eye out. Feeling the wind on my left cheek, and that tells me what direction I am throwing. I'm trying to throw 45 degrees off of the wind. I'm probably not going to catch it right off the bat. Stepped a little bit out of camera frame there. Let's see what we can do. This is a short range boomerang. It's coming in right over the camera there. I'm going to try not to hit the camera, but you never know. It just might happen. Whoa! And if the wind dies down a little bit more, we're gonna throw this thing. Drum roll, class, Bueller. Attempt at the eagle claw catch. Another. I'm gonna walk out a little bit farther there so maybe you can see the whole flight. Joanna Simpson, welcome aboard. Ta-da! As you can see, there's plenty of room for error. If I'm better at this, I'd run around a lot less. So here's the deal for you right-handed people out there. The boomerang's facing you. And what I mean by that is the flat side is away from you and the top of the airfoil's facing you. Like the indoor boomerangs, I make a pinch grip like this. And it's just like throwing a baseball. You step into it and it's right overhand. Don't throw it sidearm, bad things happen. Because what's happening is when I throw it overhand, it's making a turn horizontally. If I throw it sidearm, it's still trying to do that and it will climb, but it can't make it all the way around. And then it comes swooping back into the ground, or worse yet, swooping right back at you. So the idea is not only to be able to throw a boomerang and have it come back, but have it come back in such a way that you can actually catch it and not leave bruises. So I'm going to switch up some boomerangs. This is one of my favorites. It's a strip laminated boomerang from Portland, Oregon, known as the Oregon hat. It's what they call a sport boomerang. It doesn't go far, but I love how it's made. I love the vibration that comes out of my fingers, kind of to me the Stradivarius of boomerangs. say, Chloe, could you just kind of peek in there, and you can probably do it without getting on camera if you don't want, and just see that if I'm catching it within. I need to set up some boundaries sometimes. That one's quite a bit better. Just off camera, just off camera. We'll try that one again. So I keep running off camera to catch it. Here's kind of the deal. If you're throwing your boomerang and it lands to the right of you, that means you need to throw it more to the left of the wind. And when it lands to the right of you, it kind of makes this number 9 shape. If it lands to the left of you, and that's usually like a big U shape, you need to throw it more to the right of the wind. Lands to your right, throw it more to the left. Lands to your left, throw it more to the right. And the wind's always changing. So you can test the wind by doing the GTH, or the grass throw hypotenuse, or bubbles are pretty nice. So I'm going to try a couple more throws with this, and I realize that it's probably hard to see just because of the available light and the size of these things. Also has to do with, you know, the shutter speed of the video too. So that's why we need to pull out the big one. And a flub. What I've got here in my hand is a chamois cloth, and that allows me to wipe off the boomerang as well as wipe off my hands and get them a nice tackiness, because the other solution is spitting. A lot of spitting. Nobody likes spitting anymore. No one liked spitting before, really, but it's even worse now. So that's probably going to be, again, off to the side. So a little bit more. We've talked about to the left and to the right. Also, when you're throwing, I'm going to put you behind me like I'm throwing away. I am either throwing this right straight up and down, or it's called laying it over a bit. You're opening up this angle right here. And here's another rule of thumb. Not just like, hey Denise, that's my sister. The lower the wind, the lower the throw, like you might be shooting it below the horizon. The lower the wind, the lower the throw, and the more open. And the easier the throw, the higher the wind, the higher the throw, and the more closed, and the harder the throw. So there's actually, if the wind is strong enough, and believe me, it doesn't have to be that strong, in competition, you are, if it's 5 miles an hour or greater, people vote on it. So there's a throw known as the humpback throw. When you're throwing it, you're not just closing this angle up to 90, you're tilting it right over, and you're actually throwing almost, you know, you could be throwing it almost straight up in the air. Remember how I was saying sidearm, it wants to climb? Well, I'm doing it the other way. I'm throwing it to where it's actually, I'm throwing it way up in the air, and then it's making the circle and coming around back to me like that. So we have a little bit of wind. This is a boomerang known as a flat top by Gel Gervin. is one of my favorites. It's a little easier to see just because of the color, and as boomerangs go, it's a pretty big boomerang. Not this big a boomerang, but a pretty big boomerang. Let's see what I can do with this. If this hits my phone, it's kind of all over. It likes a little bit of wind. And once again, I really don't know how much of this I'm actually getting in the shot, but that was pretty close, but still out of camera range. It's down below. Let's see what else I can do. This boomerang here, Carrie, this is made out of Baltic birch plywood, probably marine grade. It's got a lot of little thin layers in it and it is very stiff. It's hard to get a hold of. It's expensive and places only sell it till you buy the sheet, but there's other materials. Let's try that one again. I'll see if we can get a catch on camera. Ah, a flub again. You have to, there's so much of this that is a hole when you're trying to catch it. So when it's spinning towards you, try catching on the left-hand side of the spin. So that's where the blades are spinning into you. Wes Wilson, how you doing, sir? That's better. It fell a little short. My assistant is checking the wind for me. Another thing, and you wonder like, well, why didn't boomerangs take off like frisbees? And part of the reason is they're pretty condition dependent. Once again, almost no wind. The other thing is you get to tune your boomerang. If any of you watched the roomarang video I did earlier, we talked about tuning boomerangs. And you can bowl tune these by, it's almost like if you're dowsing for water. I'm flexing my thumbs here, and you can see it impart that shallow bowl shape. And the more pronounced the bowl, the higher the flight and the shorter the range. So that one's dying on the way back. So I'm going to see what I can do to kind of make it fly a little higher and return a little better. See, it's rising a little higher right there, and it's floating longer on the return. Oh yeah. I'm always wondering, do I quit while I'm ahead? I caught one. Or I just do it until it gets ridiculous. I am right-handed, Wes. Facebook Live flipped stuff from left to right, so that's kind of a drag. I'm gonna try that again because I never stop when I'm ahead. That might have been a little hard of a toss. Or it might have been just right. So, another way to think about tuning is, you know, you saw the bowl tune where I'm tweaking it that way. You think about the boomerang as this is a map of the flight path. And if it dies on the way out, you add dihedral to this wing, and that means you're bending the wingtip up a little bit. If it dies on the return trip, you bend that wingtip up. If it's dying both left and right, well, then that's when you get to do both. So I am gonna quit while I'm ahead on this one. Let's see, how much time has elapsed here? Anybody? Anybody? Nah. So, not one to bore you guys, so I think that we're gonna pull out the big guns and see what we do here. This is what's known as a pinwheel boomerang. And this is from, the plans are from a book gifted to me by Deb Scott, by Bernard Mason, published in 1935. And it's pretty much all about pinwheel boomerangs. They talk a little bit about the traditional two-winged boomerangs, but he says they're only catch them with a net, otherwise you're going to hurt yourself. Well, if you do it wrong, you certainly will. So, the nice thing about this boomerang, at least, is it can break down for storage. Or if you break a wing, you're just replacing one. And this bolt on the bottom is not just to hold it together, it's also how we catch it. Because I can't possibly reach far enough and catch this in the middle and still have these choppers. So, we're gonna give this a try, and if it works, great. If not, this kind of like winds up beating you with multiple hits of the wings. Let's see how we do. I'm gonna go off in the field a bit so we can hopefully see the full flight. Chloe, could you take a peek from the other side and see if we're getting the whole thing in? We might make multiple throws to get the whole thing in. And sometimes this one looks better from the side, actually. Close, close. We're gonna try that one again. It makes a nice whooshing sound. All right, let's see how we do. We will get this. My daughter's going like, what the heck, Dad? That should be easy pickings. That's gonna ground out. No, it's not! Ah! Not quite the catch I wanted, but it's the catch I got. One more time. Better. That one worked out. In fact, this is a pretty good thing to demonstrate why boomerangs work, because we really haven't talked about that so much. And that's another reason why this bolt comes in pretty handy. So when you throw a boomerang, it's not just rotating, it's translating. So what that means is relative, if the wind is still, the air is still, that means you've got some blades rotating into the wind and you have some blades rotating out of the wind or out of the air. So faster airspeed over this means more lift. Slower airspeed on these means less lift. And so you'd think that this thing would twist, but it can't, because it's a top, it's a gyroscope. And I'm gonna give it a spin and you watch what, I'm just gonna let it kind of balance on this and you see what happens. I'm not turning it, it's doing its own thing. If you've ever played with a gyroscope and you put it on the little stand, that is the effect called gyroscopic precession. And what it is some forces are out of balance. And so things aren't static, but they are in balance another way where it's twisting that over, and then throughout the course of its flight, you know, when I did that right here, now imagine that I threw it, and it's taking that whole orbit to come around and twist all the way around. So as you go out, it goes out horizontal, and then as the RPMs drop, it actually lays over and comes in flat, and then you have it rest on the acorn nut on the end. Now, this book also had, and I tried this once, Carrie might have been there at the island when I did that, but you get a tuna fish can and a chin strap. And the idea is you run underneath it and you let that land in the tuna fish can and catch it on your head. It did not go well. I've got some other stories about things that did not go well with boomerangs, specifically large ones. But anywho, that's enough for tonight, you guys. Please like us, make stuff, hashtag Sam Noble Home. I want to see what you guys are doing out there, and we're going to have a lot more fun projects. We've got at 10 a.m. this Friday another Tinker with Tom, and I'm probably going to do a sling. That's where it's heading right now. It's supposed to be rainy again, so we'll be inside. We'll make a sling. We might not get to try a sling, but we'll see. So anyway, that's all for me tonight. Thank you so much for coming, and we're going to be doing more of this in the future. Take care, y'all.